All right, Joe, we're going to start here in a little bit. See you in the green room, buddy. So, all set. Those who are viewing us on Joe's channel, guys on YouTube, as well as X and the others, please stand by, guys, as we're going to be starting here in about a minute or two. Alrighty, Joe, you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Yeah, you're ready. I'm ready. So, yeah, we got a guest coming on, buddy. This about another 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. So, we'll open them up, talk about the failing restaurant industry. I thought we'd bring that up because I was in restaurants the last couple days and they're empty, extremely empty, and these are prestiged restaurants, buddy, and it's it's not looking good, you know. When you sit down and you see a whole bunch of empty seats, so I thought it was bad under COVID, man. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. I want to talk about these because it has to be addressed. You know what I mean? Like with the restaurants and the hospitality industry,
Yeah.
will tag along with the hotels and stuff like that. It's
Well,
you know,
it's Bidenomics,
yeah,
Bidenflation. We're in a
yeah,
Biden recession. They will not admit it. People
yeah.
just
We
don't have it to spend.
Yeah, well, we're gonna talk about that. Some things I want to comment on, some spaces I was in the last couple of nights regarding this issue. What was brought up in MAGA Mission the other night. What was brought up in Jamie's space the other night. Some people that are well circulating, even the new Savage Access 24/7 community chat room
Yeah.
that I set up.
Well, it's good that you're finally trying to fill that empty space in your head with something.
So we're gonna have our guest coming in a little bit. This guy Tino Bambino. So he'll be coming in.
Paisano, what's the matter, you?
Yeah, yeah, you schmuck, you mook, you right? What fucking Robert De Niro that
We're
made all
gonna get
those
Guido
acts.
on you.
Yeah, yeah. Remember when Robert De Niro made all the remarks against Trump? He's a schmuck. He's a shamil. He's a mook. He's a bum. Yeah. So we're gonna start right now. We'll keep you on screen. Thank you, Shaky. Shaky was telling me some production, some side notes before we started. So I was like, all right. So we do have a before we start, Joe. You'll start seeing a little difference in the editing on Rumble. We're adding a new segment break. If you notice the Savage Cut, they have a little segment break that goes in. So we created another segment break. It's pretty flashy. I like it. So yeah. So we'll start. By the way, your channels are still streaming. I noticed.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't. Normally, if I am, they're up at the top. It shows them, but
Yeah,
I
it
don't.
says YouTube something IN. I don't know what the hell that platform is.
LinkedIn.
Oh, is that how they abbreviate it? Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Your
yeah.
X your X account and your YouTube. So yeah, I think Rumble's on there too. Did you do Rumble?
No, I can only
Okay,
do
okay,
three. Yeah, I can
okay. I
only
see the
do
three.
three.
Yeah.
Uh,
So all right, we're gonna start. All right, guys, welcome to the show. Welcome to Savage Unfiltered. First and foremost, I always want to thank the listeners, the loyal listeners that jump on here, guys. Whether you're listening to us on audio, Spotify, iHeart, Apple Music, Spotify UK, Spotify Canada, and the rest of the platforms, Buzzsprout, Podbean, Podchaser. The list is continuing to grow, guys, with this show as new networks are seeming to merge and form here on here. Also, want to thank people that are viewing us on Rumble as well as YouTube. Including X here, guys. Hit that QR code in the upper left hand corner, and you'll get all full shows on X. So, tremendous. Thank you very much. Getting a lot of views on X with these shows. Some are reaching like 900 views. There was one show we did last week with up to like almost 2,000 views. So thank you very much. Hat tip to you guys, the Savage Army here on X. Thank you very much. And new listeners that are just experiencing the Savage experience for the first time.
yeah.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
Well, speaking of hat tips,
Yeah.
why don't you have a Savaged Army hat? Like a federal tyranny
I should be
Savaged Army
purchasing
hat.
my or not purchasing, but you know, promoting my own gear, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have. If you guys have noticed, I'm gonna zoom in here a little bit, where you could see Costa. I love the brand Costa. It is a uh what the hell is that word, Joe? Marine type of brand or something with fishing here in Florida. I love
Oh,
it. It's great, you know. They make the
Mariner? Is that
what's
the
that?
word? Mariner?
Mar-
Shipping mariners? Mariners.
Mariner. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's I think the word you're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they make the best reels, like fishing reels. They do the I mean, some of their graphics on their t-shirts are like cutting edge. I love it. So, but back to Joe's comment on Savage Army, gear. I'm gonna start promoting that. I think I should. I think Joseph should do the same thing. I told Joe we're gonna send stuff. I keep on forgetting. So fucking busy sometimes, but I think that's a good idea, guys. Starting not next week, but probably like the week after, because I have to order it from the fucking the vendor that I put it all on through Spring, guys, with SavageArmy.com. So it's gonna take about a week, maybe 2 weeks with the fucking shipping. So, but yeah, that's a good idea, Joe. I think we should do that. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. We
So
got right lead by example. And
yeah,
like I've said on X and elsewhere, don't wear your heart on your sleeve,
no.
but wear your Savaged Army message on your shirt and your hat.
Right. Before we bring in our guest, because Shaky's telling me that he is in the green room. So before we bring him in,
Hey,
yeah,
we ain't ditched again. It's not another one of those shows. Where the fuck is the guest?
we've been having some doozers lately, man, haven't we? I mean, we're
No
supposed to
shows.
have
No
a
shows.
a pro Second Amendment guy on by the name of Gunny. And he was a no-show, no call. So where the fuck was Gunny? I don't know. And then we were supposed to have this podcaster, another podcaster that's apparently been in the business for 10 years. I don't believe a damn word of it, because if he was in the business for 10 years, he would know how to even work his equipment. I mean, clear instructions when you come in these networks, guys. They're not there for show and tell. They do show you how to come in properly.
Well, let's
So, I
like
mean,
you came on to record a segment for my next week
yeah,
constitutionalist politics segment that I'm calling social media buzz, and we
uh,
talk about the truckers and other things buzzing on social media. And you had a mic issue, but again,
I did. I fixed it right away.
you knew how to fix it right
Yeah.
away. You're a professional. You know what the hell you're doing. That guy that's supposedly been in podcasting for 10 years couldn't figure out his shit.
I made a goof. Did you see what I made a goof? I put a goof in. I was like, I had Shaky do the type in the private chat. I he's like, maybe he should have his producer Kells or Kelsey or whatever the hell her damn name was. Help him out. Where's Kelsey? Is Kelsey here? So, you know, but
Oh, now Tino is saying in the chat, hey guys, I hope my audio works. Well, I guess we're about to find out.
well, I'm sure it will. I mean, he does a lot of, this gentleman we're about to bring on, guys, is very, very, very heavily president with the X Spaces. So
President?
I'm sure.
What is he president of? I think you meant present. You had another
I
caviar
know. I had a
caveat
brain
moment.
fart. I fucking
Yeah.
pulled the Biden. I think I pulled the Biden gaff.
There we
But
go.
anyway, it happens. No, he's heavily presented in X Spaces, so I'm sure his audio works very well. I'm gonna take his word for it. But 1 second, Tino, we'll open you up. Joe, before we bring him in, quick comment on what we're gonna be talking about with the restaurant fails. It's failing left and right. Like I just mentioned as we opened up, man. Like I was in a couple restaurants and these restaurants are empty, dude. Like there's no one sitting in these restaurants. Is it because of the poor quality of food? Maybe, but but uh, but I think it has to do with the prices.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they can't afford it.
Bidenomics, Bidenflation, Biden recession, the
Yeah,
cost of everything. I mean, even just at the local McDonald's, the drive through lane isn't as
yeah,
busy as normal. Or if I go to Big Boy or Ram's Horn or Nana's Kitchen here locally, I talk to them as a regular at these places all the time about, yeah, they just
yeah.
aren't as busy. People don't have the
They're
disposable cash.
they just can't afford it, and I want to get our guest some of his comments in on this topic here, this issue. Welcome to the show, by the way, Tino. How's it going, buddy?
Good, brother. Can you hear me? Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, 1 2 1 2 4 5 6. Yeah, you're coming in clear. Roger that. Copy that. Go
Awesome,
ahead.
awesome. Now this is actually a great subject because one of my first jobs was actually working at a restaurant, and it's definitely different than what it was, as far as supplies and work demand. First and foremost, no one wants to work. These kids, since COVID, they got comfortable staying home and working off of streaming platforms and OnlyFans, which is not a big issue, but I think that has to do with a portion of it, and another portion is, of course, Biden economics, where everything costs twice as much and you get twice as less.
Yeah.
So that's one of my opinions there on that.
I agree. I agree what you're saying. So, like I said, a lot of these restaurants, man, they're scrapping by to even pay their employees. I was talking to a waitress the other day when I was with my daughter actually, and we sat down at this restaurant, and she was telling me, since they opened up at 11. We got there about maybe like 12, a little before 12:30 in the afternoon. She's like, within that hour and a half, they only had 2 tickets. You're like the second customer in an hour and a half. I'm like, oh my God, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Terrible.
it's crazy. And also that has to do with COVID as well. When the pandemic hit, these restaurants had to come up with ways to, get customers to still buy their products. A lot of them didn't do takeout, a lot of them didn't do delivery. So they're like, oh, well, what we're gonna do? So most of them kind of adapt and strive. A lot of them didn't, especially a lot of mom and pops were just hanging by a strand at the time. And not to mention, they allowed places like Walmart and these super corporations to stay open while these mom and pops were forced to close.
Yeah, I talk with Michael Savaged on my show next week about that very same thing. Literally, and I got to watch what we're saying here because if we're still streaming on my YouTube, but literally 3 years ago, the fascocrats illegally and unconstitutionally demanded via lockdowns at state levels you close your business and put people out of work. Now
Right.
they're demanding illegally and unconstitutionally commie economic style that you keep your business open, whether in their crime infested shitholes that can't make any money and are crime riddled. The In N Out Burger in Oakland closing down, and Gavin Newsom is trying to, through illegal court action, force them to stay open. There's
Yeah.
too much crime. They can't make money. They can't stay open. They've got to close.
Yeah, they're the prime targets of theft mainly because they're understaffed. Um,
CVS and Walgreens, yeah, like you're talking about, yeah,
yeah. CVS. I mean, they're constantly getting robbed all the time. I mean, you see
yeah,
them. You see these videos. World Peace is a guy I follow on Twitter. He follows me back, and he's in California, mainly San Francisco, posting videos of just this fentanyl crisis that we're going through, which, by the way, is also brought on by the border control. So it's just a whole mess, and there's really no way to work around it. The only ones that can work around it are these, like I said, these big corporations. They have the manpower and the money to take a hit. They could
Yeah.
lose a couple of employees. They could lose a couple of they could lose inventory, but it's not going to really hurt them in the long run
yeah.
because they have so many stores.
To your point, CVS and Walgreens shutting down all over because in these leftist shitholes like Chicago, LA, San Francisco, New York, they've passed laws literally making it non prosecutable to steal up to $750 worth of stuff. And the stores aren't stopping them. So
Yeah.
they lose money, they have to close.
Yeah,
That's
here's my
that's
here's my
different.
view on it right here, Joe. Like as we're seeing the restaurants failing left and right, and what I mean by use the word failing, right, is they're failing to even even make $1,000 in a single day, let alone a single night.
Yeah.
I mean, this waiter I was talking to, or excuse me, waitress I was talking to, she said that just the other night before we got there, just in 6 hours, because this restaurant's only open for like 6 or 7 hours. In 6 hours, 6, 7 hours, they only were able to have like, oh God, maybe like 15 tickets in a single day. 15 tickets that added up to like $788.
It's
That's
terrible.
terrible, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the restaurant's not profiting anything.
Yeah.
They're not gaining any sale. They're losing business. I see a lot of restaurants closing up shop left and right. They're putting on signs saying, "Sorry, folks, dine-in service is closed. Please use drive-through or whatever due to staffing issues."
Right.
It's like COVID all together again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the restaurant eatery situation is different than the CVS Walgreens situation, like
Yeah.
you're talking about. Yeah. Now, it's anecdotal, I understand, but it indeed is happening everywhere. Nana's Kitchen here in Wyandotte, that I'm a regular, normally closes at 7 p.m. The dinner crowd has dried up so much. They're going to start closing at 4 o'clock on a lot of days because there's just not enough traffic to justify being open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's not only that, the quality of service also went down. So you do have employees working, but they're honestly, a lot of them are overworked and underpaid. So they're not going to give it their 100%, and they're just getting cut. I mean, some of them are not getting customers, like the situation you said, Savage, where you're getting 14 customers in a day, but so a lot of them, people are not going out to eat anymore, so they're just staying home, ordering out and getting their food, and then you got chefs in the back just overworked, trying to push out these orders, and they can't keep up. They'll have to cancel them. Like, hey, we can't make your order. I do apologize, and then they lose a future customer. I mean, it's a snowball effect. So
It's
mom and
sad.
pops get screwed at the end for
It's
sure.
a sad thing that we're seeing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very sad. Joe, you want to expand on any of that, buddy?
Well, it's also we've discussed movie theaters in the past too. For whatever reason, I tried to get Stephanie of MJR Theaters to come on. She doesn't want to come on, and nor do her bosses. They just want to kind of keep quiet. That the movie industry, the theaters especially, just have not been able to recover since COVID. People aren't coming back. People are pissed at the left wing loon celebrities in Hollywood, Pedowood, that even when some good movies are there and great to see on the big screen, people aren't coming.
Yeah.
MJR, free popcorn Tuesday. I mean, Tuesday, they're packed because you're getting free
I mean,
popcorn.
they're even trying with the popcorn, like you mentioned. Like they're putting in these like little promotional type of stuff, free popcorn Tuesday. They're trying to get the customers in, but still, I mean, movies, theaters becoming like ghost towns, so to speak.
Yeah.
Speaking of ghost towns, look at your malls. They're a thing of the
Mhm.
past. Malls
Yeah.
are like, I mean, literally empty. Are some of our malls here in Florida empty? I mean,
Yeah.
the little shops, they have like those little like what the hell are those things called, Joseph, with the little cage
Kiosk,
thing that they put down?
the little
Yeah, you
kiosk.
talk. You're
Yeah,
talking.
yeah.
I think you're talking about the chain fence
Yeah, the chain fence
barrier.
that comes
Yeah,
down. Yeah.
they're
Oh, okay,
closed.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, again, this is anecdotal. I hear most of the malls around. They're all called lands here. There's a Southland, a Northland, an Eastland, a Westland.
Yeah.
All of them but Southland, which is by me, are indeed in major trouble.
Well,
Somehow, Southland, we're getting lucky, has been able to draw business back and it's getting foot traffic returning. But yeah,
yeah.
again, most of the malls are hurting and shutting down. Fairlane Mall in Dearborn, traffic way down in a lot of storefronts, empty.
I know you live in Michigan, Joe. I mean, what about the downtown area of Detroit? How's the business there? Is it somewhat coming back after COVID, or is it in the
Yeah.
same mess that we're in?
Well, downtown. I mean, most of Detroit still looks like Hiroshima after the bomb dropped, because
Okay.
the only thing the people and the politician movers and shakers care about is downtown.
Yeah.
Downtown is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's wonderful as long as the sun's out. Once the sun goes down, you don't want to be there. But downtown, yeah,
Oh God.
hustling and bustling during the sunlight hours. But the rest of
Yeah.
Detroit, still completely ignored. Looks like Hiroshima after Fat Boy was dropped on it.
Oh God. What, Tito? I don't know where you reside, but like, what about your area? I mean, are you seeing like the same mess that we're referring and talking about here on the show? I mean, the restaurants, the movie theaters, the malls. I mean, how's the business there, man? Is it improving? Is it like what's going on?
Well, I don't want to dox myself, but I live in
No, I'm not going to put you on the spot, buddy. But you know.
Just a
no, it's
general
all
idea, yeah.
well,
Yeah, I see you
well,
wearing
well,
sunglasses. You know, no, he's not wearing sunglasses at night. I wear my sunglasses.
it's early morning where I'm at. I'm actually in Colorado right now, and I think it's every major city. It's feeling it. To be honest with you, it's not. It's not only Detroit. It's every major city. Detroit just had a rough history. I mean, you're absolutely right, Joe. Detroit has seen the worst of the worst. I mean, the auto industry moved out and then moved back in, which still doesn't help because most of the parts from the auto industry are imported from like Japan or Mexico. So um, I just feel like it's just every city is feeling the same way. I mean, they're only
Mm.
focusing, especially these blue cities, they're focusing on the main town square. They're worried about just the people who are here to spend money, but not the people around it that are living in the area. So, um, yeah, it's bad. I mean, you're right. Movie theaters, I think, are the last line of entertainment that actually people can go out and enjoy themselves. I mean, look at arcades. There's barely any arcades other than the big Dave and Buster's, which are again in major cities. But these little small arcades are all gone. I love arcades. I'm an avid gamer myself, so you know it's just sad that kids are not able to go enjoy themselves in places where when I grew up as a kid, I always went to the arcade. I always went to the mall. I hanged out with friends at the mall. That was my spot to go. I was a mall rat. And unfortunately, kids are not going to experience that anymore. That's why you see all these TikTok videos of them doing stupid stuff. And, they're just doing it for views because they're bored. They're absolutely bored. They have nothing to
It's
do.
becoming Tino, it's becoming the great reset. And I want to get into the great reset here in a little bit with you and Joe. But guys, I wanna plug in this trucking convoy, guys, as you see on the screen here, guys, whether you're viewing us on Rumble or YouTube or including Joe's channels here. There's a major, major trucking convoy as I've been plugging it left and right last week into this week, guys. Take our border back truck convoy 2024. Hit this QR code, guys. It starts actually this week. And it's going to go right into like the first towards the middle of February, the first week of February. Going to be starting off in Virginia Beach, Virginia, making its way down south here to Florida, over towards Jacksonville, over towards the Panhandle into Pensacola Beach, states through Mississippi, Louisiana, on over towards San Antonio, Texas, eventually making its way over to the southern border. Now, this trucking convoy, guys, I have to say, is a peaceful assembly. I have to put that out there for maybe possibly a liberal, a fascicrat, a leftist listening to the show. It is a peaceful assembly. It is managed and organized by American truckers and American citizens that are fed up with the Biden administration not taking responsible angles towards our border issue. Now, it's sad that we have to, organize and come up with these protests and these convoys because of our current Biden administration not lifting a finger towards the border. You've seen that just last week into this week with Greg Abbott now enforcing the National Guard of Texas. I mean, that's terrible. Where you actually have a governor of Texas or any other state, for that matter, taking the law at their hands because your own government up in Washington won't lift a finger.
Yeah, I
Um,
want to add to
Go
that.
ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I want to add to that. Now, there will be traffic tie ups and slowdowns where this is going. That
Sure.
they're not going to block anything. They have no plans to block anything. But let me forewarn you up front, don't be surprised. Antifa, black lying Marxists, all the left wing groups may try to head it off and literally block roads to make it look like they're blocking roads.
There's
That
been a
will
lot
not
of
be the
there's been a
case.
lot of conversation, Joe, coming up on X. I know Tino has been in a lot of spaces over the last week with this issue with the border and the trucking convoy. Probably one of the biggest and largest trucking convoys yet
Yes.
to be known. Tino, you got any comments on that with this trucking convoy coming up?
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. We rely on the truckers to bring our goods to this country, and they've been taken advantage of. And honestly, with the way technology is going, you're going to start seeing um, autonomous, semi-automatic. That sounds funny, but trucks that drive themselves across the
Autonomous.
country.
Yeah,
Autonomous. There we go.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm weaponizing it. It's a semi-automatic semi. But you're seeing this. It's gonna happen, and truckers are not having it, and they're also overworked and underpaid. I mean, there's less truckers out there than there used to be because no one wants to work and no one wants to put the forth effort to uh, make money or even have a career in the trucking industry. So it's sad. My father's a truck driver. He's been doing it for most of his life, and I see what he had to go through. And it's tough work, man, being on those roads for hours, and they're just
Yeah.
underappreciated. So they're fed
Yeah. I
up.
mean, I
And
talk to
more,
Marlon on X all the time.
yeah,
Hat tip to Marlon and
Marlon,
Texas
yes, shout
Red,
out to
Texas
Marlon.
Trucker.
and more and
They're
more
pushing it left and right. Yeah.
yeah, more and
Yes,
more Biden regulation on the independent truckers. The bigger broker firms are getting away with things. They are regulating more and more the independent trucker to try to push, because again, they get the big money donations and have lobbyists. Those big trucking conglomeration firms do. The independents, the people, really the backbone of America, again, getting screwed.
yes. Yes. And Marlon's a
Yeah.
part of that group, the owners, truckers owners operation. I don't want to butcher it, but TOONA, big group. I looked at their website. It's very legit. And it's just a whole bunch of truckers that have the same ideology,
Yeah.
just
He's
working
also
together.
part of the NOAA,
Yeah,
No,
NOOA.
yes.
Yeah. The
yeah.
big
But
organization NOAA.
right,
Yeah.
they need to form their own, not official conglomeration, but a loose coalition of people.
Mm.
Right, communism, micro versus macro. We're talking people coming together in a community voluntarily, not fascist, communist, top down government force. Micro communism that you're allowed to engage in with like minded people, like your local credit union. You join it voluntarily to be part of that communistic, so to speak,
Joe, this
community
this all
for
ties
your own
into
benefit.
what we were discussing last night on an X space. I know I mentioned Marlon. He's heavily presented in these spaces, but there was a discussion that we're talking about with this great reset, right? With all ancient civilizations that were here before we were here, right? You could look
Mhm.
at Antarctica. You could look at Atlantis. All these great civilizations, once powerful empires, not here anymore.
Mhm.
And I brought up the discussion about the Great Reset, that regarding this issue back then, as it did into now. And I said, with every great empire, it will fold, it will
Yeah.
collapse, and it will hit its point of no return to reset itself in order to succeed and move forward. Now,
Yeah.
when you think of the term great reset or reset, some people will look at it as a negative term or some people will look at it as a positive term. I look at it as both. I'm going to get into the negative part and the positive part, with you guys. The negative part would be, let's do the negative, get that out of the way, right? The negative part would be the narratives, right? The spin, the twisting the language of it, and this and that. Shaky tell me in the private chat, Biden what is it? Biden dynamics. Yeah,
Bidenomics. That's
yeah,
part
yeah.
of the design.
The
Cloud
Cloward and Pivot
and Piven.
bankrupting of America. Yeah, I
Yes.
agree what you're saying, Joe. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the negative part. Okay, that is the spin. That is the narratives. That's the twisting the language part, and this and that. That's always you're always going to get negative out of that. The positive is to see where your mistakes were, fix them, so you can evolve into a better society. I think that's where we're getting at. We're getting to the breaking point, the climax, so to speak, of our society, where we have ran its course on a natural point and we have to now get rid of, so to speak, the bad eggs in layman's terms in order to create better policy as a government. I think that's where we're going right now with things. That's just my
Can I
personal opinion.
can I
Tino, you
speak on
got
that,
thoughts on that,
Savage?
buddy?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I didn't mean to interrupt, but you know, you're absolutely right. As far as the Great Reset goes, we have history shows it that we have societies that came up, rised, and then fell, and the most common factor of those things are they lost their way with God or they tried to
Mm,
play God per se, and that's what we're seeing right now. We have these biotech labs around the world with gain of function research, and they're trying to play God essentially, and that's going to be on, in my opinion, the downfall of man. I don't know if you heard about this, but this Colorado State University is opening up a gain of function laboratory, experimenting with bats and foreign viruses and diseases, um, and that right there is a problem, in my opinion. I mean, we shouldn't have that in this country right near a school, per
mm.
se, or near any civilization, because, what's the fallout? What's the fallout of the Ebola virus or the Black Plague? These are what they're messing with, and
Hmm.
people need to know this is serious stuff. And I'm trying to get more
Playing with
people
God.
involved
I
on that.
like how you just went there. It's
Absolutely.
government that's trying to play the power of a higher power, an entity, however you want to
Yes.
look at it.
Yes.
That's dangerous.
That's
Very, very dangerous stuff.
part of what my Constitutionalist Politics podcast and book is about. Leftism is communism, atheism, fake Christians, pretending they're still Christians, but what it's about, separation from church to state. They want to be the gods. They want to be worshipped.
Hmm.
And
Marxism.
don't forget about its ugly cousins, Joseph, socialism. That cannot be ignored
They're
because
they're all the
every
same.
movement starts as socialism, then leads to
Yeah.
communism. And we're still experiencing the socialism here in the United States, leading very, very close to communism. I mean, we're like inches away from it.
Hmm.
History lesson. This isn't the 1930s. They're all the
Yeah.
same. Communism, fascism, socialism. It's all just a different color banner with only minor variations of the same theme. But it's all top down, tyrannical, fascistic control and power over all others. There's really no difference these days between communism,
Yeah.
fascism, socialism. The Nazis
Yeah.
were National Socialists fighting the Moscow backed communists. They were different
A lot of
then.
history right there.
Today,
A lot of
to,
history.
today,
Joe,
they're
hold that
all the
thought. I gotta
same.
Yeah, 1 second. I gotta pitch in Blackout Coffee, guys. It's one of our exclusive sponsors here on the show. Scan this QR code, guys. Amazing, amazing patriotic company. Started out with a dream from an individual that would go to places as Cuba to Brazil, the rainforest, all that good stuff, guys. Came back to America and said, you know what? We need better coffee. We need higher quality coffee. So he came up with this concept, blackout coffee. I'm still trying to figure out the term blackout. I have no idea. I mean, it's crazy. Like I said, guys, scan this QR code. They have the amazing, amazing products. They're 2A Guns and Gadgets, one of my favorite on the whole entire website, as well as their Rude Awakening, right? Or brutal, right? Did I say it right, Shaky? I'm fucking up my plug. A brutal awakening. Yeah. Uh, a lot of patriotic names on it. I know that there's been some nasty ads towards blackout coffee from leftists. Shame on you. Stop attacking American companies. You know, tired of it. Scan the QR code today, guys, and you're really going to be impressed with their quality of coffee. Love it. Back to the show, guys. Joe, I cut you off, but I had to get it in there, buddy. What were
Yeah,
you
hey,
saying? I'm
no
sorry.
problem. Again, This isn't the 1930s. They're one and the same. The Nazi Socies only later became known as fascists. They were socialists. Again, proving the point, they are all now kind of one and the same, and why I say today's modern DNC are fascocrats. Not commies, really, or socialists,
Mm.
though those names fit because, again, they're all the same damn thing now. But literally, do not take my word for it. As Reagan said, trust but verify. Look at the National Socialist Deutschland Arbeiter Party platform and
They're identical, Joseph.
today's
They're literally
DNC
identical.
platform.
Everything that Joe's mentioning on the show, identical. If you can't see that, guys, you're living under a fucking rock. I mean, why? There's something I want to bring up before we close it out, Joe, with this identity politics. I mentioned this on some spaces earlier this week, with MAGA Mission. I think that's one of the issues that we have to focus on is the identity politics. I think it's a dangerous tactic that a lot of these politicians are using, right? We seen that clearly just last week with Nikki Haley and Trump. With the tactics. Oh, it's not really a nice dress. Mentioning Nikki Haley's dress, it wasn't that fancy. I mean, it was kind of fancy, $570. I mean,
Yeah.
shit. I wouldn't even buy my daughter a $570 dress, let
Yeah.
alone anyone a $570 dress.
We
But
need
before you chime in, let's get Tino's response because putting him on the back burner a little bit. He's been in the green room now for like the last 4 minutes. I know he's probably trying to come up with a thought. Go ahead, Tino.
No, it's lots of thoughts thrown out there, but yeah, the way that the Democrats are moving right now is definitely comparable to Germany Nazi. They want to take your guns away, they want to suppress your rights, they want to
Yeah.
suppress your speech, and they don't realize it. It's funny, man. A lot of them are just oblivious to the fact. Like we're talking about the border, and I try to look at both sides of the spectrum, and I have this one person. I'm not going to mention her name, but on Facebook, just extreme leftists. And today
Oh
she
man.
posted Texas with a KKK. Yes.
KKK, huh?
Yeah. So instead of
clueless.
just clueless. I'm like, do you understand what's going on? Like they're allowing thousands and thousands unvetted illegal immigrants. And if you see these videos online, you could go look them up yourself. They're not women
Yeah.
and children. These are all middle-aged, elderly men coming into the borders.
Tino, I gotta chime in. We always say on
Yeah.
the show, trust but verify. It's words that Joe and I live by. Don't trust our words here on the show or anyone's words. Verify it. Search for yourself. I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's
and
just
don't use Google. Go to DuckDuckGo, Jibberoo, or
you
FreeSpoke
get better
because
search results, Joe.
Google
Yeah.
suppresses those inconvenient facts and pushes you to CNN or Mother Jones or Huffington Poo Poo Post to give you left wing false narrative opinion and propaganda.
The
rather
unicorn
than
fart delusion, right, Joe?
yeah,
That's what
that's another one of my terms, unicorn fart delusions. But
we. Yeah.
regarding identity politics, yeah, Trump, Nikki, Ron supporters, stop with the Saul Alinsky bullshit. Are you a
Joe,
Republican
you're doing
or
the
are
same
you a
thing. We're
left-wing
talking about how
snowflake?
restaurants are failing and stuff. They're instituting this right into the restaurant. There's still. I know COVID is somewhat of like it's expired. It's not here anymore. No one's really talking about it, but they're still trying to bring that in. Like where the way I'm going at it with this is like how people react even to COVID since it's not here anymore. Like you'll
Yeah.
see people in restaurants where they'll be like, well, can I have that booth over there in the corner? Well, what's wrong with this one? And they don't say it, but they have that illusion on their mindset where, oh, there's somebody sitting right next to me. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Well,
the mentality level that's carried on after COVID with people coming into restaurants and movie theaters. Like people are so neurotic still. It's terrible.
Well, can I chime in on that? Not to
Yeah, go ahead,
mention,
Tino.
you guys do remember during the pandemic where a lot of restaurants were putting signs out saying "must be mask," or there was this one restaurant saying "you must be vaccinated to enter my
Ugh,
restaurant."
yeah.
You must be vaccinated. That's insane. Imagine saying, "Hey, you you can't have a red hat on coming in my country or coming into my restaurant, or you can't be this color." Like that's the same exact thing. How are you allowing someone to do something like that? And the government allowed that. They allowed people, which is okay. It's your restaurant. You make your own rules. If you don't want to bake a cake for someone, don't bake a cake for someone. Go to another restaurant. I'm okay
They
with
have a
that.
right to service anybody they want to service. Yeah, that's up to
right,
them.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
I do believe in
right.
that freedoms, but to require a vaccine, which is not proven, that's another story. Um, it's just mind blowing that I saw this with my own eyes and I experienced this, and a lot of Americans did, and it just blows my mind. I still can't fathom how we got to this point. So
Uh,
that's
it's
Yeah.
that's
becoming a banana republic.
Well,
That's how I see it.
the
absolutely.
discrimination, to Tino's point, on the private business level is your terms of service. That's up to you versus you cannot discriminate at a government level. That is indeed illegal violation of civil rights. But to
Mm.
conclude my point, some right wingers need to stop acting like leftist snowflakes and engaging in this Zelensky shit. But as to Nikki and identity politics, I often say I don't like identity politics. Mike doesn't, Tino doesn't, but
I can't
Abra-
stand it, Joe. I
no, but
mean,
let me finish this point. Abraham Lincoln did not get to say, Gettysburg, Schmettysburg. Just let him have it.
yeah,
Sometimes the enemy dictates a battleground you must fight on, or you just fucking surrender it. So I
yeah.
don't have a problem with Nikki's brown child thing as a reaction to the identity politics. No problem with it because that's a battleground we may not like, but you still have to fight it or you fucking lose by surrendering it, saying, la 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 la, not gonna do that, la 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 la. You lose if you don't
Yeah,
fight it.
amen. Yeah. And I'm fighting this border issue right now in my area.
Yeah.
They just shipped out a whole
Joe,
bunch
you
of
you Joe, hold that thought. We got to close
yeah,
it up here soon, but I got to comment
sorry.
real what you're just saying right here on that real quick. You see that on social media. I mean, you see that on like whether it's on X with the spaces. You see that on. I mean, all social media.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it's bad, man. And they not only weaponize the media, but they weaponize kindness. It's like, oh well, these people are
Mm,
freezing, they're cold, they're tired, they need a
yeah,
place to stay.
that's
Um, yeah,
that
I
that's
understand
that's
that.
crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that, but there's Americans that been here in this country, a lot of them veterans, homeless, just looking for places to stay, and they have
Right.
nowhere to go.
you're
It's
dealing
insane.
in you're dealing in facts and the issues and policy, and that's the point. Stop the Alinsky ad hominem bullshit and focus. I don't care that Nikki is still in the primary. It's just like Rush Limbaugh did Operation Chaos. Of course, Democrat donors are going to help Nikki stay in the race. It's just like Operation Chaos. I don't care. Ignore her. She's irrelevant. Trump, talk about Biden and the issues. You have the nomination sewn up. Shut the fuck up about Nikki Haley. Irrelevant. Talk
Mm.
about Biden. Every day, Trump allows this shit to go on, and he is, by talking about Nikki and her dress, is a day the left wins. Because we're not talking about Biden.
Joe, I said this on your show just the other day. I said it even on Sauce's show, What Echoes with Sauce. I said Trump needs, and I'm going to close it out like this, guys, because we're running low on time. Trump needs to stop the attacks. Stop attacking Nikki. Nikki is not a threat. She has no clear path to victory in November. She lost New Hampshire. She's probably going to lose South Carolina as well, too, with a lot of people favoring Trump. I mean, even Tim Scott is favoring Trump over Nikki. Stop it, Trump. You're winning. You're going to win in November. The people see your message. They see your views, your thoughts on the vision of America. Hold that thought, Joe. I mean, what we have to do is we have to, again, constantly talk about it on the show. Restore American Republic, seal the border, fix our trucking industry. The restaurant industry needs to be fixed because it's taken a huge shit. Every hospitality industry in this country needs to be healed and fixed. Trump needs to do a lot. Again, Joe, we were talking about this last week.
Yes.
I'm going to vote for Trump next week. Next week. God, I'm fired up. I'm going to vote for him in November. I wish the election was next week. I'm going to vote for him in November, but I demand more from our possible future president. I demand more. He needs to start acting like a conservative instead of a populist. He needs to act more political, I think, in his aspect. Stop the fifth grade reading child mentality and be a better president in his second term. That's my final thoughts. I'm going to give Joe 1 minute or less, and then we'll do Tino. Go ahead, Joe.
Principles, not personalities, like we say all the time. As it says above my head, principles before personalities. Every day Trump does the Alinsky shit with Nikki is a day the left wins. We need to hear the independents who will decide the election need to hear his issues and policy message, not the attacking Nikki or attacking sanctimonious bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. You have any final thoughts on that, Tino, as we wrap it up?
Absolutely. For me, Nikki Haley is just a blue Republican. She's a warmonger. She has big businesses in the war industry, and that's all she cares about. She cares about filling her pockets. But as far as Trump goes, I'm hopeful that he can, turn this country around. But, we've seen from his last administration, he had a lot of swampy people in his cabinet. So we need to focus on that, who he's picking in his new administration. That's the more important part. Who is the people that he's appointing to fill these important roles. And that would lead, because everyone knows the president is just a face. And I think he's a great face for this country. But we need to see what he's going to do as far as policies and all the people that he's going to have backing him. And that's my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Tino, I want to thank you for dropping by, buddy. It's a great honor talking to you. And, I've spoken to you on X numerous of times and always wanted to have you on the show because you're a tremendous voice on X and, a lot of the spaces that you're involved with. For some of the listeners that want to listen to you on X Spaces and other platforms, where can they find you at, man?
I have my own website, tinobambino.com. It's just a link tree right now. Just leads to my, I do photography. I do, little things here and there. But, I do want to expand my platform. And, thank you for giving me a voice. I appreciate it. This is my first podcast I'm on. So hopefully it's not my last. And if I ever get big, man, I never forget you guys. And I'm going to keep it plugging on and keep talking my stuff.
No, and, Tino, I think you're a horrible guest. This is definitely your last
Get a little
podcast.
Dark, man. Get a little dark, brother. Yeah.
That's what I need. Constructive criticism.
Just kidding. Just playing. That's
No,
why
I
I'm known
know.
as Jokester Joe here, just playing with
Yeah,
you.
that's why we call him. We label him Jokester Joe for a reason, guys. I'm Savage. This is Jokester Joe, and known as Joseph M. Leonard. Joining us today, Tino Bambino. You can find him on X, and tremendous individual, guys. As I say always, be savage, not average.